Okay, I'm going to make this admission once and one time only, and then we're moving on. But some of the people who came with the rodeo are good, decent people, and I'm glad they're part of our little group here, okay? But you came with riffraff. You came with riffraff, humorless riffraff. Yeah. Reminds me of Democrats, that group that you came to. You showed up at my door with them. But anyway, some of you are good people. Anyway, this is not going to be about the sixth seal. That's what I said we would be talking about in this video and the last video, but I went to a website, 11-11jesus.com. Great people and viewers of this site, and I learned something while I was over on their website, which you should go to and check out. And it involves the Mayflower. Let's just jump into it because you need to hear this. This kind of stunned me when I learned this. And I also saw yesterday that a couple of commenters pointed this out as well. The Mayflower. It leaves England in 1620. It's got 102 people aboard. It's going to make its way to Virginia. It's cut an agreement with the Virginia Company to pay off the sponsorship of their trip. The group on the boat, the Puritans, wanted to get away from the Church of England, to be free of that, to have the chance of some religious freedom, to worship God the way they felt, and rightfully so, he should be worshiped, not through a state-run religion. So they leave port and they take off, and there's all kinds of problems, but as they're getting close to Virginia and landing, a storm shows up, and it blows them off course to the Bahamas, where they spent a wonderful, it blew them 500 miles off course to Massachusetts just before winter is about to begin. As they realize we're not going to get to Virginia, and we don't know how to get to Virginia from here, some of the people on board said, well, that kills our deal with the Virginia Company, now what? So they said, we don't have any choice. We're landing, and we're going to make the best of it. But because we're not going to be living under the rules and regulations of the Virginia Company, we need to come up with our own document. Who are we? Why are we here? What's our purpose? So they drew up the Mayflower Compact. Here's how the Mayflower Compact, it's considered the first document of this new nation, about 200 words. Here's how it began. In the name of God, amen. And then in the next paragraph where they lay out their goals and ambitions, it begins this way. Having undertaken for the glory of God and advancement of the Christian faith. That is why they came. That is why they went through all of the misery and success that they went through to found this country, the first permanent settlement. And that document was signed by them before they got off the boat on November 11, 1620, 1111. That date is embedded in American history. It was an agreement between them and God. We will do this for your glory. And in return, they wanted his blessing. And he lived up to his end of the bargain, didn't he? No nation has risen so fast, so quickly, so prominently than this country. And yet, look where we are now. If you went to a school board and said, every November 11th, we want the Mayflower Compact read to our kids so they'll understand why this nation was founded, they would laugh in your face. They would laugh in your face, most of them. Most of the school boards would say, are you kidding me? We're not going to read that. That would be an insult to so many of the other kids and atheists and the Club of Satan and all of the other organizations here in the school who don't embrace what you're embracing. The reason our country was founded happened and was formalized on 11/11/1620. 402 years ago, and now look at us. And I believe that's the reason we are now seeing this date emerge, 11/11/22. It's being talked about on a lot of blogs and on a lot of channels. My official position is this. I believe from November 11th, 2022 to November 11th, 2023, the anniversary dates of the flood, the beginning and the end, he is telling us he is about to move. He has been giving the church time to fix the problems that he pointed out, to get into the Church of Philadelphia, but that time is running out. This is not some random date that we all just came to on our own. He has positioned himself and that date to show us, you made a deal, you broke the deal. That never goes well with anyone who does that. And this is a very serious and foreboding time in America and around the world. One of the reasons he is going to move is because we broke the agreement. And that's what happens when you break the agreement. Now, I want to end with something rather unusual, okay? A little ear tickling going on here, possibly. A couple weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, I ended up in a phone conversation with a guy who asked me, what's your opinion of the Strong's definition fascination? You know, where people will see a 4-digit number and they'll take it to Strong's Concordance and look up that number because it'll be associated with either a Greek or Hebrew word. And you look at the definition and you say, that's what God is telling me. He's showing me those 4 numbers and look at the definition of that word. I told him I'm not very fond of that idea. I'm not a fan. I've never done it, and it's not something that feels quite right to me. But I also said, but I could be wrong. I don't know, but I'm not currently a fan. He then related an event about the birth of his kids that involved some Strong's numbers, and he showed them what they spelled out to him and what those words meant and how appropriate they were for his particular situation. It was impressive. I'll give him that. It was impressive. And I said, look, I may revisit that situation. Then I'll rethink my position on the Strong's Concordant numbers. Well, a couple days earlier, it's a long story, which I'm not going to go into. I ended up getting new license plates, and they were delivered and put on. The next day after the conversation with that guy, I noticed that my new license plate number ended just like an entry into Strong's Concordance would be. If it's a Hebrew word, it's going to be H followed by 4 numbers. If it's a Greek word, it's going to be G followed by 4 numbers. And that's exactly how my license plate ended. And I thought, so the first time anybody asked me about my thoughts on the Strong Concordance number fantasy, the next day I go out and see that my new license plate is in that format. How am I not going to open up the Strong's Concordance and see what that number is and see what that definition is? How am I going to not do that? Of course I'm going to do that. I mean, how do you not look that up? Even if you aren't a fan of the whole Strong's word definition thing, how do you not look that up? It's in the exact form of a Strong's Greek word entry. So I looked it up. Here it is. Just now, this moment, now, at this time, at this very time, this moment. Look, I don't know if he was in that or not, but since it agrees with what Jesus said, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. At this time. Isn't that what he's telling us? Isn't that what he has been telling us for the last couple of months? Behold, I am coming quickly, soon. He says it over and over. The world is oblivious to it. The church needs to embrace it and hold on tight.